Did you know there are motorcycles literally nobody is buying, but that are better than many of the bikes everyone's fighting to get? There are used models dirt cheap on classifieds, Facebook groups, and even at used dealerships, while people overpay for trendy bikes that in practice don't offer anything spectacular. The market is emotional, not rational. Most people buy what they see on social media, what their buddy shows off, or what they think gives them status, not what actually gives the most motorcycle for the money. In this BikeNexus video, you're going to learn about 3 cheap bikes almost nobody wants, but that are practically being given away today and could be some of the best purchases you make in the coming years. I'm going to explain why the market ignores them, what they have that's good under the skin, what years to look for, reasonable price ranges, and what things to check before handing over your money. The idea is that by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, what to avoid, and how to recognize a true bargain even when the rest of the world is ignoring it. If you like buying smart instead of following trends, subscribe to BikeNexus, drop a like, and stay until the end, because the third one is the most undervalued of all. The first is a bike that on paper shouldn't be cheap, but it is. The Suzuki GSXR R600, from approximately the 2011 to 2016 generations. In its time, this was the wet dream of many riders who wanted to jump to a serious sport bike. A real 600 with track pedigree. In many cases, it was the bike you saw on posters and track day videos. When it was new, it ran around $10,000 to $11,000. It wasn't a bike just anyone could afford. It was aspirational. One of those you buy with all the excitement in the world. Today, however, you see many for sale between $4,500 and $6,500, and some drop lower if the owner is in a hurry or has had the listing up for months without serious offers. Why is something that used to be so desired now so devalued? People are afraid of the number 600. Many think it's an uncontrollable bike, that it kills, that they have all been thrashed at the track, or that they're nothing but problems. Plus, the market moved toward newer 300 and 400 cubic centimeter bikes with modern designs, flashy colors, and heavy social media presence. Brands push those segments, and that makes the old 600 seem like a thing of the past. What used to be an object of desire today gets forgotten in the classifieds. Although, technically, it's still a very serious machine, and bought right, it can be one of the best things you can have for that money. Technically, the GSXR 600 mounts an inline 4-cylinder engine with around 120 horsepower, depending on the year. It's an engine that really comes alive up top, with a pull that makes you fall in love. But down low, it can be quite docile if you handle it with your head, which allows calm city riding and ringing it out on the highway when you want. It has electronic fuel injection, liquid cooling, and a precise 6-speed gearbox with the feel typical of Japanese sport bikes from that era. There are units with over 25,000 to 30,000 miles that still run well with just basic maintenance and timely oil changes, because Suzuki built a robust block here designed to handle demanding use. The chassis is an aluminum twin spar with adjustable suspension and very good brakes for its time. This isn't a soft bike designed exclusively for relaxed cruising. It's designed to go fast, enter corners hard, and brake late with confidence. You notice that in how it holds in fast curves, in the stability when you open the throttle leaned over, and in the security it transmits when braking hard before a tight turn. Despite being a 600 sport bike, its fuel consumption can run between 40 to 48 miles per gallon if you're not always at the limit, which for what it offers is more than acceptable for real weekend use and some longer rides. Ideally, look at 2012 to 2015. Models with less than 20,000 miles in the $4,500 to $6,500 range, which tend to be the best in terms of year-to-price ratio. It's crucial to listen to the engine cold and hot. Check that the clutch doesn't slip in high gears when you accelerate hard. Verify the chassis and fork aren't twisted, and there are no signs of hard impacts on covers, foot pegs, and handlebars. It's also worth checking details like tire condition, brake discs, and chain. Because if everything's at the limit, you'll have to invest extra right after buying. Ask about service invoices, whether proper oil has been used, and how often maintenance has been done. That can give you a very clear idea of how the previous owner treated the bike. If everything checks out, you're looking at a real sport bike at beginner bike prices. And that's where the big opportunity is. The second bike is the complete opposite of a flashy R. The Honda CB500F from 2013 to 2018 is one of those bikes that goes unnoticed on the Gerir street and in classifieds, and precisely because of that, they're so cheap. New, it moved in a range of $6,000 to $7,500 depending on year, market, and equipment. Today, in the used market, it's perfectly possible to find units between $4,000 and $5,800, many of them owned by people who used them to go to work, take relaxed trips, or as a first serious bike. It's not a bike you see daily in reels or shorts, and that plays in your favor as a buyer. Its reputation for being boring weighs on it. It doesn't have the aggressive styling of many modern nakeds. It doesn't show off loud colors or futuristic designs. And on social media, almost nobody shows it off because it doesn't generate as many likes as a sport bike or a big adventure bike. But underneath that discreet appearance is a motorcycle that does almost everything well and works for the city, for highway, for daily commutes, for learning, and for long weekend getaways. It's one of those bikes that maybe doesn't make you fall in, love at first sight, but after a year of ownership, you're grateful to have, because it never complains, uses little fuel, and always delivers. The engine is a 471 cubic centimeters parallel twin with about 47 horsepower, with very progressive and usable delivery from low revs. It's not one of those engines that only pulls up top. Here you can ride in high gears at low revs without the bike suffering. Fuel consumption moves around 65 to 71 miles per gallon, which for a 500 that can perfectly handle highway speeds is an excellent number and lets you travel without thinking about every gas stop. The mechanics are simple, very proven, and with great parts availability because it shares a base with other models in Honda's 500 family, which also helps keep costs under control. The chassis is stable, the riding position is neutral and comfortable, with handlebars that don't load your wrists too much, and foot pegs in a position that lets you bend your knees without excessive discomfort. The seat, without being a couch, allows long rides without coming out destroyed, and wind protection can be easily improved with a windscreen if you plan to travel a lot. It's not a track bike, but it doesn't feel clumsy either. It's one of those that without impressing you just keeps racking up miles and miles without drama. For someone looking for one bike for everything, this CB500F is one of the smartest options in the used market. Ideally, aim for 2014 to 2017 units with less than 30,000 miles, in that $4,000 to $5,800 range, that usually have a good balance between age, mileage, and price. Check that there are no oil sweats in the upper part of the engine, that the drive kit isn't dead, that the fork has no leaks, and that there are no weird play in the steering or swing arm when you brake and push the bike. It's also a good sign to find service history, see that it starts easily cold, maintains a stable idle, and doesn't make weird surges when you accelerate smoothly. If it passes that inspection, and the paperwork is good, you have a bike that, with basic maintenance, can accompany you many years without complaints. The third bike on the list is probably the most unfairly forgotten. The Kawasaki Ninja 300 from around 2013 to 2017. In its time, it was the gateway to the world of quality small sport bikes, a bike with which many made the jump from 150 or 250 cubic centimeters to something more serious without reaching a 600. New, it ran around $4,800 to $5,500, but today you find many used units in the $3,200 to $4,500 range because public focus went to the Yamaha R3, the Ninja 400, and KTM's 390S that get all the attention. The engine is a 296 cubic centimeters twin with about 39 horsepower, smooth, elastic, and very friendly for those starting out or wanting a sport bike that isn't aggressive or difficult to handle. It doesn't have brutal power hits or unpredictable reactions, which helps immensely for learning without scares, dragging knee on a curvy road, or improving your line without the bike fighting you on every mistake. Plus, the contained weight under 375 pounds makes it very manageable in the city, easy to move at low speed, and extremely fun when the road fills with curves. The Ninja 300's fuel consumption is one of its great strengths, with figures of 60 to 70 miles per gallon, making it an ideal candidate for daily use without breaking the bank on gas. The brakes and suspension work well for its intended use, and the riding position is sporty, but not as extreme as a 600, so you can ride a good while without destroying your back or wrists. In more recent versions within those years, ABS appears along with some improved equipment details, which adds important points in safety and confidence when pavement is wet or braking distances extend. Almost nobody asks about it because the numbers 339 horsepower sound modest compared to the 400s and 390. And because visually, the first generations don't have that ultra-aggressive design dominating agency windows today. However, for someone looking for a first serious sport bike, a bike to learn well, go to work during the week, and take some weekend rides, the Ninja 300 has an excellent balance between fun, economy, and reliability. When searching, it makes sense to look at 2014 to 2016 models with less than 20,000 miles in the $3,200 to $4,500 range, where the best opportunities usually are. Check the fairings carefully, alignment, cracks, and mixed hardware, the radiator and exhaust for possible impacts. Listen that the engine doesn't miss at high revs, and look at the condition of levers, foot pegs, and engine covers that reveal whether there were hard crashes or just light scrapes. If everything looks coherent and the paperwork is in order, it's a very complete Japanese sport bike at the price of many new Chinese bikes. So there you have it, 3 cheap bikes almost nobody wants, but bought right are genuine bargains. The GSXR 600 for those who want a serious sport bike at 400 prices. The CB500F as a multifunctional tool for all uses. And the Ninja 300 as a light sport bike, perfect for learning and having fun without emptying your wallet. Leave me in the comments which of these 3 you'd buy, if you've had one and how it worked out, and also if you want a second part with scooters or work bikes that are dirt cheap today. Hit that like, share this video with that friend who always wants a bike but doesn't want to overpay, and subscribe to BikeNexus to keep discovering hidden gems in the market.